So, who exactly was Abraha? Was he this celebrated Aksumite king we read about in ancient texts? Or was he a scarred, almost caricatured figure from Yemen? You see, history gives us two completely different portraits of what seems to be the same man. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of stone, memory, and, even modern AI to get closer to the truth.
Okay, let's just jump right into the puzzle. On one hand, you have these ancient inscriptions. We're talking Ge'ez and Sabaean languages that paint a clear picture of Abraha was Beha, a powerful Aksumite king. But then, on the other hand, much later Arabic traditions tell a different story, a story of a guy named Abraha Al-Ashram, a Yemenite figure. It's the same name, but two totally different backstories. And that is the core mystery we need to tackle.
So to figure this out, we're going to have to be like intellectual archaeologists. We need to grab our tools and dig. We'll start at the very bottom with the oldest, hardest evidence we can find, and then carefully work our way up through the more recent layers of stories, legends, and interpretations.
Right, so our first stop, our deepest layer, is the stone itself. What do the primary sources, the actual inscriptions carved during Abraha's lifetime, what do they really say?
And here we have it. This is inscription CIH 541. Now, this isn't some story told about him centuries down the line. Nope, this is a direct message from the man himself, carved in stone around 548 CE. And what does he call himself? He says he is King Abraha, the king of Saba and Duraiden and Hadramaut and Yemen. These are his words, his titles, declared for all time.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the context of this thing, this huge inscription. It's not his diary. It's basically a massive government report on state-level crisis management, specifically the project to repair the Great Marib Dam after a breach. It's all about logistics and engineering. And what's crucially missing? Any mention of a personal scar. Remember, Al-Ashram literally means the scarred one. The stone talks about a structural scar on a dam, not a physical one on the king. That's a huge detail.
Okay, so let's move up to that next layer. This is where things get really interesting. We're moving from the hard evidence of stone to the much more fluid, powerful world of collective memory and legend. This is how history starts to become a story.
So, to really get how the historical King Abraha could morph into the legendary Al-Ashram, we need to understand a concept called Ashramization. It's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is simple. It's basically preservation through caricature. It's a way of remembering someone important from a past era, but, well, in a new, twisted form.
So here's how it works. It's kind of like a three-step recipe. First, you've got the real historical person. Step 2, a new power, a new regime takes over. Now, to make themselves look good and legitimate, they don't just erase the old leader from history. Instead, and this is step 3, they reformat him. He's remembered, but as a flawed, scarred, or diminished version of himself. This, of course, makes the new guys in charge look like a necessary improvement.
All right, now let's hop in our time machine and fast forward to the 21st century. Because there's a powerful new voice that has just entered this ancient debate: artificial intelligence. And believe me, this has turned into a whole new battlefield for these old narratives.
You can really see the clash here. On the left, you've got the classic historical method. It's all about peer review, digging deep into sources, and looking for nuance. On the right, you have the new kid on the block, AI. It is incredibly powerful. It can synthesize insane amounts of data in seconds. But, and this is a huge but, its understanding is completely shaped by the data it's trained on. If one story is way more common in its data set, that's the story it's going to tell you, no matter how old or reliable the sources are. And so this is what happens. You ask an AI about Abraha, and more often than not, it's going to confidently tell you the story about Ashram, the Yemenite figure. It's not trying to trick you, it's just reflecting the data it has learned from. And that data is absolutely saturated with the later, more numerous stories and legends. So the AI synthesizes the most common story, which, as we've seen, isn't always the one backed up by the oldest evidence.
So where does that leave us in this whole mess? We've got stone, we've got memory, and now we've got computer code. To get the most complete picture possible, we can't just pick one and ignore the others. We have to learn how to weave them all together, even with their contradictions. So, the big takeaway here really is that we need a multidimensional approach. First, you have to value the primary sources, the stone, above everything else. Second, you have to understand that the traditional stories aren't just fiction, they're a form of social memory, reflecting how a culture sees itself. And third, we can absolutely use AI as a powerful tool, but always with critical human oversight. History isn't just a list of facts, it's a living, breathing, ongoing conversation.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating and maybe a little unsettling question for our own time. When we have conflicting evidence from primary sources, from our collective memory, and from these powerful new algorithms, how on earth will future generations make sense of the history that we are living through right now?
Now, if digging through these layers of stone and memory and code is your kind of thing, if you enjoy this intellectual archaeology, then I have some really great news for you. We have just launched our brand new online home for all of this stuff. It's at www.samael.inc. You can find deep dives on this topic and so many others, plus a whole library of amazing resources, including tailor-made reports you can literally plug into your own projects to help shed some light on a subject.
And of course, to make sure you never miss another explainer, please be sure to find us and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Podbean, Castro, basically wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much for digging in with me today.